come on the dais. Let's have a round of applause for each one of them. I would also like to invite Dr. Veena Prasad, in charge principal of NKES Degree College, Vasumati madam, to come on the dais, please. Guys, can we have a larger round of applause? Okay, so now I am going to hand over the proceedings to Professor Gangadharan Mani sir, and he will take us forward through the today's day's process. Let's have a round of applause for Mani sir.
Thank you. Thank you everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the dignitaries present on the stage, and also to the guest for this particular session, Mr. Shankar Raman. Welcome sir, welcome to NKES International Conference on day 2. Mr. P.S. Shankar Raman is the Senior Vice President, Operations and Technology with RECAM RPG. He comes with rich experience, rich industry experience. Mr. Shankar Raman is a postgraduate in plastics technology and has done his management from IIM Kolkata. He has a total work experience of 34 years, working in a wide range of roles from sales, operations, supply chain, project management, mergers, and has headed roles with multiple P&L responsibilities. Currently, he is working as Senior Vice President, Operations and Technology in RECAM RPGM for more than 28 years. As I said, Mr. Shankar Raman comes with rich experience, and we would definitely be benefiting from his wide repertoire of knowledge. So I now welcome Mr. Shankar Raman on the stage. A big round of applause for Mr. Shankar Raman. Sir, this way. I now request our trustee, Mr. Anand Banwasi, to hand him over a bouquet and memento. Yeah, please, come on. So I request Mr. Shankar Raman to take over the proceedings of this afternoon. Thank you, sir. I request the other dignitaries to take their respective seats. So you can just say next. They will change the.
My team knows that. My team irukanga.
Okay, parvala. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I hope I'm audible very clearly to the last benches as well. So, first and foremost thing, I would like to thank the institute, the trustees, Mr. Patil, Mr. Vasumati Madam, and everybody else for giving me an opportunity to come and engage with the educational institute. So it's a privilege for me as well personally, and that's something that I will cherish in my own memories for the days to come. And given this context that we are just out of COVID, so I was jumping with joy to be associated being back. Otherwise it's been always online, and at best, you know, you go to your office and then meeting people is nowadays was a privilege. So this is a very good thing for me, and thanks very much for all of this. Okay. I've been given this topic on sustainability. So I think the context is on this. So I will spend my next 45 minutes in talking about industry practice. Okay. I'm not a theory person, so I'm more a practicing professional. So I will come purely from my experience and what industry faces as challenges and how do they overcome. And of course, technology goes along with this as we are talking about sustainability. So this is a quick brief. On the left hand side you will have seen my profile, but I will talk more on the right hand side, which is talking about my company. So Rekem RPG as a company, it's a 50-50 joint venture with a company called RPG Enterprises, which is a 50% holder, and TE Connectivity is the second 50% holder. TE Connectivity globally is about $14 billion company, a Swiss-based company, and it is one of the largest passive electronic components manufacturers in the world. And the word Rekem comes from a company called Rekem Corporation, with whom we had this JV way back in 1989. And if you Google around, Rekem was known for innovations. And as a technical professional, for me, it was one of my aspirations to be in such technology company way back in 1990s, early 90s. So, and that's where, so if you Google, there's a technology called heat shrink technology. On plastic, we know metals expand, heat expands metals. So here is where you have, when you apply heat, it starts shrinking. So very unique from an engineering technology point perspective. So that was fascinating to me at that point of time, and that's how I joined this company. And just one more point I want to know when I say about technology. Today all of us see mobiles with a touch screen, and it is a common thing, but I'm proud to say that this was invented by Rekem way back in 1988. So it used to be called as ELO touch systems. If you Google ELO touch systems, they were the pioneers. Of course, it was sold off. Today it is a common commodity. So that's where our association of Rekem with the industry that goes back to way back in the 80s. So this company was taken over by TE Connectivity, and that's how it's called now, a joint venture with 50-50 TE Connectivity. And we are in the industry of telecommunication, power related activities. We are also into the oil and gas. So we are one of the largest gas meter manufacturing company in the country. We are the largest cable jointing supplier. So when you want to bring power to this place, wherever, it is joined by cables. So the cables are jointings done by this technology from our company. So that's the background from where we come from an industry perspective. Next slide, please. So in today's context, so I will talk about sustainability and sustainable development. So sustainability is a position where that in an organization is, and to given context, what is more important is that how do you develop this from that particular position, and that's what we are talking about, sustainable development. And I will just touch upon the need and significance in today's world, because it is becoming very, very relevant to the industry that when we are going around the society today. So I will talk about sustainability. Sustainability is a continual improvement plan of sustainable development. Basically, it's something that today wherever we are, how do you ensure that you are sustainable as an organization, both from generating profits to living longer, ensuring employment. So from all dimensions we need to see that how we are sustainable. That's where the word sustainability gets a significance. And sustainable development talks about the needs to the present. because whatever we are doing today, it comes at a cost. So when you look at whatever we do in terms of development, which has been happening in the past, it has been happening with a cost, but we were not aware of these things. So today that awareness has come in, and that's where we say it comes at a cost. And while we are doing this, it is on impacting extreme areas like weather. We are talking about natural disasters, calamities, and all of these things you hear about around us. It's primarily because somewhere at some point of time we had not given importance to this, and that's the reason that we are going through this challenge, and that's where today, in today's context, sustainable development take a lot of significance. And that's where you will see. And attached to the sustainable development is all about climate change. And what is climate change to know is typically we have been going through climate change. We, on a day-to-day basis, we know there are 3 seasons that comes: winter, summer, and rainy season for people in Mumbai. But you understand that you go through extreme weathers in different part of the season. Now we are getting impacted, but the root cause for this has been last 100 years of, if you see the history on the right hand side, I went to put a graph. If you see for the past 100 years or so, we have had something like 0.4 degree of temperature change. Today, that particular thing, when you look from 1880 to 1980, we have seen 0.4 degree of temperature change in the entire evolution process. But between 1980 and 2010, in the 30 years, we have seen another 4.4 degree of climate change. And that has further deteriorated. That last 10 years we are seeing another 0.4 degree. You can see how the time is shrinking for the same 0.4 degree in temperature, which is clearly evident that around us, that we see a lot of calamities happening around. So this climate change is really a big subject. We can ignore today, but it is going to come and haunt us, not only us, the future generation, the coming generation that is going to face this. So it's important to act on this immediately, and that's where industry people are getting awareness, and everybody, it's not to industry, even at home we need to be mindful of what we are doing. So this is something that is standing in front of and staring in front of us, we need to address immediately on priority basis. And that's where it is coming from. It is coming all because as human mankind, we have made lot of utilization of natural resources which we are actually pulling out from below earth and started using it, and we are polluting the environment. And primarily this is leading to gases that is coming out that we are using in a fuel, which is going to atmosphere and leading to this. I have a short video on this just to give you a relevance of how important is this.
This is Earth, the planet.
I think audio need to be there. There has to be a voice. Can we get the voice over here? We need a voice here. Because the audio, if there is an audio behind it, it will make sense when you actually see the video.
This is known as the greenhouse effect. Now, the little greenhouse effect is natural to the Earth. It is a good This is Earth, the planet in our solar system that we live on. However, our planet is not on a good path for continuing to sustain life. The Earth is facing the accelerating detrimental effect of climate change, also referred to as global warming. Well, what exactly is climate change? Climate change is defined as a long-term change in the Earth's overall temperature with massive and permanent ramifications. Climate scientists believe that this isn't caused naturally by the Earth, but by human activity.
We have to change the display settings, then you will be able to get to the screen.
This is Earth, the planet in our solar system that we live on. However, our planet is not on a good path for continuing to sustain life. The Earth is facing the accelerating detrimental effect of climate change, also referred to as global warming. Well, what exactly is climate change? Climate change is defined as a long-term change in the Earth's overall temperature with massive and permanent ramifications. Climate scientists believe that this isn't caused naturally by the Earth, but by human activity. Earth's atmosphere consists of gases such as oxygen and nitrogen, and other gases known as greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane. Incoming light from the sun hits the Earth's surface. The Earth absorbs some of that energy, heating the surface of the planet. The rest of that energy gets reflected. Some of that energy goes back out into space, but greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide trap the energy and send it right back to the Earth's surface, heating it up even more. This is known as the greenhouse effect. Now, a little greenhouse effect is natural to the Earth and is a good thing to have, but a large greenhouse effect can be catastrophic, causing a lot of that energy to stay in our atmosphere and heat up the Earth at an accelerating rate. Some of the main human activity that emits greenhouse gases are fossil fuel burning, animals, agriculture, and deforestation, and waste and recycle pollution. Burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, as well as gasoline, are some of the largest pollutants of carbon emissions. Not only that, but when fossil fuels are burnt and the gases mix with heat, they create smog, a thick air pollutant that is highly toxic. For example, Beijing smog is so thick and heavy that you can't go outside without some form of surgical mask or breathing filter. The massive amounts of excrement produced by livestock farms emit toxic gases such as hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and methane into the air. Methane is 23 times more effective at trapping heat than CO2, and roughly 80% of these emissions in the U.S. come from animal waste. Over 56 billion animals are globally raised every year for food purposes. That's 8 times more than the human population, and 8 times as much waste adding emissions to our atmosphere. Land used for growing animal feed and raising animals for food used a staggering 30% of the Earth's landmass in 2006, and the food production industry has only increased since. 7 football fields worth of land is bulldozed every minute to create more room for farmed animals and the crops that feed them. Bulldozing land and deforestation not only emits greenhouse gases, but it gets rid of plants, trees, and forests, the things on our planet that actually absorb carbon dioxide. The more we deforest our Earth, the less carbon dioxide it can absorb from our atmosphere. Solid waste landfills are some of the largest pollutants of methane gas in the United States. The average person produces 4.3 pounds of trash per day. That's 1,569 pounds of trash per year for one person. With the 7+ billion people that live on the globe, that's 11.6 trillion pounds of trash dumped into landfills every year. But how do we know that our human activity is the cause of accelerated climate change and not the Earth's natural process? Our civilizations produced a devastating 40 billion tons of carbon dioxide last year, which equals 700 trillion cubic feet of CO2. That's a little more than 100 Mount Everests of CO2. It's enough CO2 to fill the entire Grand Canyon 5 times. Or it's the equivalent of 19 million Empire State Buildings. The largest natural pollutant of the Earth are volcanoes. If we take the largest scientific estimate of carbon emissions produced by volcanoes every year, that's 500 million tons of volcanic CO2. But that's not even 2% of the nearly 40 billion tons of CO2 that our civilizations produced. Over the course of thousands of years, our climate goes through a natural climate cycle of carbon dioxide being absorbed and released into the atmosphere. But once the Industrial Revolution kicked in, burning fossil fuels became the necessity of manufacturing production plants, and the CO2 level shot up violently, and have not slowed down since. The Earth has not seen this much carbon dioxide in its atmosphere for millions of years. Our planet with the greenhouse effect is like a bathtub being filled with more water than it can drain. Eventually, it will fill up with more than it can handle. But why should we care about global warming and climate increasing? The Earth's temperature has risen 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit over the past century and is projected to rise another 0.5 to 8.6 degrees Fahrenheit over the next 100 years. Animals and plant life are struggling to adapt to these conditions for survival. If even one species goes extinct, it can create a domino effect with the food chain. No living plants or animals means no living humans. Rising temperatures makes the Earth's oceans become warmer, which causes something known as ocean acidification, which rises the acid levels in the oceans from the carbon dioxide reacting with the salt water. Ocean acidification harms animal life and is what's causing the death of the Great Barrier Reef. This is a problem because about 1 billion people use ocean life as their main source of protein. Since the oceans are becoming warmer, the polar ice caps are melting, which has caused almost 65% of the polar ice caps to melt since 1979. The Earth loses on average 400 billion tons of ice each year. That's like a giant block of ice 4 miles long on each side, 64 cubic miles, that melts and is added to the ocean. The oceans fill with too much water, and the shores, like in Louisiana, can't hold all that water, and coastal regions get flooded and destroyed. Climate change also causes more frequent and intense natural disasters such as hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, heat waves, and droughts. So the question is, how do we stop this? Instead of burning fossil fuels, we need to convert to renewable energy such as solar and wind power, which emit zero carbon emissions when operating. Energy from the sun and the wind are infinite. Unlike fossil fuels, we will never run out of them. More solar energy falls on the Earth in 1 hour than all the energy that our civilizations consume in 1 year. Civil engineers from the Solutions Project calculated that we could power most of the world with only renewable energy if we just actually decided to do it. If we cut back on deforestation, not only does that reduce the amount of fossil fuels burned, but there will be more plants and forests actively absorbing carbon dioxide. If we use more reusable and renewable resources, this will reduce the amount of energy needed to create new products. This will also reduce the massive amount of landfill dumping that we do. That all sounds like great, efficient, and healthy ideas, but how can I help personally right now? You can drive an electric or fuel-efficient car. Replacing your regular car with a Toyota Prius, the average person can prevent the emission of about 1 ton of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Now, we all can't afford to just buy new and different cars. So to help, you can walk or bike places, take public transportation, or if anything, ease off the accelerator and make your car as efficient as possible. Use energy-efficient light bulbs. LED light bulbs use only a fraction of the power of incandescent light bulbs. Air dry your clothes instead of using power-guzzling machines like dryers. Turn off electronics or lights when you're not using them. Eat less meat or no meat at all. By replacing an omnivorous diet with a vegan diet, the average person can prevent the emission of about 1.5 tons of CO2 into the atmosphere. Reduce, reuse, recycle. And of course, course, spread your knowledge and concerns of climate change. Remember, climate change is very real and is drastically affecting planet Earth, our home. And although we are the problem, we can also be the solution.
So you see how, we have contributed to this particular change that all industrialization has contributed. I have another short 2-minute video on the ozone depletion, because this is another damage that we have already done to the society, and you see it, how real it is, and we have taken action certainly, but that is something that is also haunting us at the background. Go to the next video.
15 to 35 kilometers above Earth's surface, a gas called ozone surrounds the planet. The ozone layer acts as a barrier between Earth and ultraviolet radiation from the sun. However, pollution has caused the ozone layer to thin, exposing life on Earth to dangerous radiation. Earth's atmosphere is made up of 6 layers. The second layer, called the stratosphere, contains the ozone layer. The ozone layer is made up of a highly reactive molecule called ozone, which contains 3 oxygen atoms. Ozone is a trace gas in the atmosphere. There are only about 3 molecules for every 10 million molecules of air. But it does a very important job. The ozone layer acts as Earth's sunscreen, absorbing about 98% of damaging ultraviolet or UV light. But the ozone layer has gotten thinner. Chemicals called chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, are the primary culprits in ozone layer breakdown. A CFC is a molecule that contains the elements carbon, chlorine, and fluorine. CFCs are mostly found in refrigerants, aerosols, and plastic products. When CFCs are exposed to ultraviolet rays in the atmosphere, they break down into substances that include chlorine. The chlorine reacts with the oxygen atoms in ozone and rips apart the ozone molecule. Areas of damage in the ozone layer are often called ozone holes, but that name is misleading. Ozone layer damage is more like a thin patch, with the thinnest areas near the poles. The ozone layer above the Antarctic in particular has been impacted by pollution since the mid-1980s. There, the region's low temperatures speed up the conversion of CFCs to ozone-damaging chlorine. About 90% of CFCs currently in the atmosphere were emitted by industrialized countries in the northern hemisphere.
So, this is the real thing that has happened to us. Some of them are irreversible at this stage. Now, what does it mean to us? Next slide, please. So, given this condition, it's clear that we need to act now. We are all on the same page. Do I hear this? Are we on the same page? Yeah. So this is extremely important to understand that the damage has already happened, and we are in a process where we can try and minimize this while our day-to-day lives will go on, industrial will go on, technology will come in, new products will come in. We need to see that we sustain this for our future generation. Next slide, please. In this context, you will see that United Nations have put up a framework, and they are talking about 17 goals in this framework, where it encompasses not only climate change but a larger, broader aspect that is being covered. Next slide, please. You can see here they are talking about sustainable development goals, out of which there are 17 of them. Not everything talks about only climate change, but overall development that needs to be brought in together, because you need to encompass every aspect of sustainable development to be a comprehensive version, and there you will see on number 13 is all about climate change. So that's one small element in the entire sustainable part, which is it becoming more and more comprehensive in terms of overall development that we are talking about. Next slide, please. So what is important on the climate change, point number 13, is we are talking about taking urgent action. So from an industry perspective, there is a lot of awareness that is coming in, and they are trying to bring in lot of change in this. And as an industry practitioner, I can say that change has started happening in every organization, albeit small or big. But that's a reality that is people have realized, and it is getting implemented. Second, we need to urgently limit the global warming to 1.5 degree. As I had shown in the first slide, we have already reached a level of 1 degree. At this rate, if I were to calculate another 5 years, we will be at 1.5 degree. But that's not going to help us anymore. So actions on the ground will have to be taken, and there is every effort that is being put across industries, across nations, to see how we can minimize this to up to 1.5 degree. And the greenhouse gas emissions are one of the major contributors. So everywhere everybody is trying to put actions in place so that we are able to sustain it beyond 7.6 degrees from 2020, which has already passed by, and we are yet to see impacts on some of these things in the coming years. In the overall framework, there are other which are being put across GRIs and other stuff. At a national level, you know, we hear a lot about solar parks being created. Prime Minister himself is going about it. Today, you know, at a nation, we are about 50 gigawatts of power that we are generating with solar. That has to scale up to about 280 gigawatt by 2030. This is a massive increase, and at a national level, you know, just to give you a scale, today after so much of industrialization, we are doing about 380 gigawatts of power that is being consumed at a national level. So if that is the capacity, we are going to do all of these things in the next 10 years with solar and renewable, primarily renewable, solar and wind. So that is a massive ramp up that is happening across the nation in different this thing, and you will see in the media solar parks coming everywhere, and this is primarily to limit, because there is a need for power, and how do we manage this power with alternative arrangement other than using it for, you know, coal and hydel. So that's the change that is happening at a national level. And of course there are energy efficiency projects being driven, sustainable water mission, lot many things are that being put at a national level. So these are all areas that nation is doing, the United Nations is bringing in, so everywhere is putting their efforts to bring in. So we go to the next slide where we will talk about, you know, consequences of not doing this. We are seeing these things. We have seen in east part of the world, a country where Odisha was hit, Tamil Nadu is being hit. You will see that coming across and in haunting the nation so many times, and that's something that we have to live with till we make the change. Next. So what does ESG framework talk about in an organization? So what we saw was many things that was happening around the environment and the impact of this. So I'll quickly touch upon what is the ESG framework, what we are talking about. ESG stands for environmental, social and governance. So the 17 goals that you look at gets covered in these three broader aspects of environment, social and governance. So where, you know, the damage part is managed at this environmental level, the second part is the social level, and the third part is the governance level. Now within the environment level, you see energy usage, carbon footprint, climate change, waste management, pollution monitoring, hazardous, toxic emission, natural resources conservation, compliance to government and environment regulation. So these are all things that an industry tries to manage. We all started, you know, in an industry to save power, to, you know, find alternative fuel to save costs. But that was the actual practice that started. But as we were doing it, we realized that we had to do it with a purpose. So we had to change the frame at the back end to say that we are not doing this only for power savings or money or cost savings, but we need to do it for a larger purpose. And that's where the industry is in a change mode at this stage. A lot of industries are managing it in a way, proactive way than a reactive way. And that's where the ESG is coming. all on the public limited company, they are talking about ESG governance as part of the board requirement, as part of the balance sheet that we need to report and other stuffs. Primarily because this is the way, only way to bring enforcement into the organization to do practices. I will talk more about the social and in my coming slides. On the environmental side, when you start looking at it, first is the sustainable infrastructure. One of the most important thing is that as we are building infrastructure, we need to see how they are more from a practice of sustainable part, where we are talking about how to use power, how to use water efficiently, and there are organizations which help you in doing these things. I will also talk about what we have done in our company to get these things done, and that's something that has helped us to, in a big way, to create awareness. And as we are building new plants, we are getting into a smarter way of building these in terms of in a sustainable way. Next slide, please. On the environment, we are talking about net zero. When you say net zero, somebody talks about emission. Here at an industry level, we talk about carbon footprint. We are talking about waste, we are talking about water, we are talking about energy. So these are all the areas that from an industry perspective we are trying to put this across, and where in energy we start with trying to map your energy requirements which you are doing it to what you are consuming today, start conserving them by optimal usage of it. Second, try to bring efficiency by going to a new technology versions like advanced technology in terms of newer generations of equipments. Third is managing the demand. So it is also important that when we run the plants, sometimes we see that we are different differential rates, where there are loads at the entire city needs to manage. So there are government, the utility provides you facilities where you can increase your demand at night time when you run the shifts, when the daytime you manage it in a different way. So we try to balance this as well, working with the utilities. Then we talk about changing this source power to a renewable one. So these are the areas that we are trying to do on the energy side. When you look at the water side, basically reduce, optimize, reuse, harvesting. That's an important aspect that we try to do, as as water conservation is extremely important for us. On the waste side, every industry produces waste. That's a reality. Now what we see is, first, can you reduce it? Can you reuse it? Can you recycle it? Can you recover some of it? So that's how we see it. We use this methodology again and again to see that how do we eliminate or reduce waste. In terms of next, greenhouses. Now when you are running processes, we are looking at processes that will help you to make it green, which means it will talk about right from, you look at the entire process, what you are doing, how do you make it more green, where we are talking about managing the supply chain in an efficient way, where the use of packaging materials, multiple areas where we see that we can manage the sustainable development by conscious efforts that we put in this particular process. Next we will talk about on the sustainable product. This is a very important aspect. Today, as we are producing products, today we do produce products to customers, and our primary objective is just to meet customer expectation and manage customer expectation. While we are doing that, we need to think through in a sustainable way. That's an extremely important aspect that we do, right from using of raw material, production, transportation, use, etc. How do we ensure that we optimize this particular usage of resources to make it a sustainable way? Next time we will talk about more on the how do you do the energy, the sustainable way. For example, you measure carbon footprint. How do we measure carbon footprint? It can start from your own gate to gate. You do from gate to cradle to gate or cradle to grave. We call it, a product has got an entire life cycle. So how do you manage the entire life cycle in terms of new product development till it is produced, generated and consumed and finally disposed? The entire thing you try to manage in a way. So there are standards which today govern these things, and as industries we are trying to practice this. There are no mandated requirements, but there are customers who are insisting on some of these things as a way to put it as sustainable development. So we are also practicing some of these things to be able to ensure that the product is certified. You would see, when you buy a white goods industry, level 4 or level 3 or level 5, that stickers are put. You talk about entirely the way they manage the power part of it, the resources part of it. Go to the next one. In terms of social, we are talking about a large part of the human side here. Now, when we are talking about the 17 goals, on the left side side you see the 6 of them are actually talking about equality, diversity, inclusiveness. This is a broader aspect. It doesn't talk about only, climate and other thing, but it talks about overall as organization, how do you make it sustainable? Where, we bring inclusiveness, gender diversity. When you say include, there are specially abled people that you manage. So there are different programs that we across. I'll give you a few examples of what we do in terms of our social aspects as well, so that you will be able to understand how industry practices these things on a day-to-day basis. And there are governing standards as well to these things. On the last side, which I talk about governance. Topically, governance starts from, the board, which takes accountability for the organization, and where the shareholders, directors, management team try to bring this governance, and it's a top-down approach. That's where it happens in this particular case, where we talk about managing the legal frameworks, we are talking about compliance, and many of those aspects that is extremely important. And as students of this generation, you need to understand these are all extremely important things from day one for you as you step into the industry, where you start understanding this, following this, and practicing this at your day-to-day level. Now, I will just touch upon what we have done as an industry within RECAM RPG as an organization. So, this is all talk about what the ESG governance is all talking about. Within, I will give you a few slides in terms of what we are doing as RECAM RPG. Now, in terms of environmental sustainability, we are talking about infrastructure and facilities, energy conservation, technology upgradation, renewal of energy resources planning, and sustainable product development manufacturing process. So these are the 4 areas. When you talk about sustainable infrastructure facilities, every plant is evaluated for its water consumption, energy conservation, material conservation, overall, and we apply for an award systems which is supported by IGBC. I'll talk about that, and each of a plant goes through an assessment by which we are forced to look at what we can do better in terms of improving the existing infrastructure. Second, we are talking about is on the energy conservation. So all of my plants today, when it consumes power, starts first measuring how much is our consumption. It's all mapped right in front of my laptop. I can see what has been the consumption across the previous day, previous month, previous year. Then we talk about next is what do we do to bring improvements, and there we try to bring in technology in terms of whether it is a compressor, whether it is a blower, whether it is motors, what technology we can try to bring it to make it more energy efficient. So that's something that on a day-to-day basis we try to use. On the renewable part, it is a norm of the day that every organization needs to look at how they manage power. Depending upon whether you are a small consumer of power or a large consumer of power, you have to see that how do you contribute to carbon footprint by reducing generations that is coming from coal and other things through the utilities. So all our plants, we have solar plants installed, and as we speak, we are further expanding our capacities to ensure that we become at least 50% net zero by end of this year, and we have a goal for ourselves where we are talking about being net zero by 2026. Next, on the product side, this is something very interesting. So whatever product you manufacture, you actually can evaluate your carbon footprint, which means what damage you are doing, you are able to measure. Today there are science available, there is a technology available, there are software available to assess this. Now that's your starting baseline, and once you find out what is the carbon footprint that you are using or carbon this thing, there are ways to ensuring that you start reducing this. One way is to start putting alternative mechanism of using power, consumables, other packaging material, efficient operation running. Second, there are indirect ways of doing. For example, I go and plant trees elsewhere and I take the carbon benefit, and there is a way to manage these things in the industry level such that you are able to demonstrate. I can tell you today I export a lot of goods to Europe, and my customer says that for winning the tender, I need to demonstrate within a year of 2 years I am able to reduce my carbon footprint by 20%. That's a commitment that we as an organization have given, and we are acting on those, and that's how the process starts, where we measure ourselves and start putting improvement in place so that we are able to demonstrate to customers that we are able to improve the reduce the carbon footprint. In terms of recognitions, all our plants are award winning in terms of the IGBC. We are talking about power related. You can see my photographs at a national level. We got an award for power conservation. So we participate in a lot of events where we go and demonstrate ourselves that we are able to make improvements. And in terms of all our plants, they are all India Green Building Council has given awards. So some of the latest plants are all platinum. They are gold certified. They are silver certified, depending upon the age of these plants. In terms of other aspects, we are talking about the social side. Corporate social responsibility. That's something that has to come natural to the organization, and within organization, individual as professional that we are working in. So as an organization, we do a lot on the education side. We talk about employability of people. We talk about community development. Again, this also comes in the framework of sustainable development. Next slide. So here we talk about education. So we have something called as the Pile Action program, where we create teachers to underprivileged, where we give them ability that they can train more people. Then on the Swayam Health, we create health workers, nurses, so that they are able to have a living and they are able to contribute to the deprived society. On the third side, you see, during the COVID times, we started creating COVID this thing. There were about 100 fever center clinics that we created, where people, underprivileged people, would able to come to our clinic and get tested free of cost, and they are able to take the next step course of actions. We have a Netranjali effort there. We go and call people to do a free eye cam checkup, so that they know that they have a power and they are able to take some corrective actions. We are also training a lot of females on auto rickshaws, by which they are able to be self-reliant. So these are few things that we try to do from the social aspect, from a group perspective. On the sustainability, on the diversity and inclusion, this is very close to me. I head the diversity council for my organization, and also leading the sustainability chapter across the group. Here we talk about gender diversity, very important. Second, we talk about inclusiveness in terms of specially abled people. We talk about third gender. We try to bring all of them into the industry. Today, you would not find anybody in the third gender working across a plant, in the shop floor or somewhere. It is very rare. I mean, we are also going through a learning process in the entire stuff as we are trying to do. But again, that's a challenge that we have taken for ourselves, that we are able to contribute to the society in that form. Here are a few examples where we have people, deaf and dumb people, they are working the floor, managing for their day-to-day life, and we help them to do jobs such that they are able to manage their routine. And this is a learning for even for people who have, God has given, it's a gift for us that we are able to hear. And you see them working, and when I see them working, clearly you see that how they work as a team. Though they don't have the ability to speak, but you should see them, they are much better than us when we talk about working as teams. That's something that personally it's been a big learning for me. Also, I talked about the third gender. Also, we try to bring some of them into our organization. In terms of governance and ethics, at a corporate level, we manage through, we have a POSH committee, we have risk mitigation planning, code of governance, whistleblower policy, statutory regulatory compliance, human rights. All of these are all integral part of the organization that we have to manage, such that in terms of overall sustainability, we contribute our bit to the industry, and by it to the nation, and by that to the larger society. Because as an organization, we are committed to handing over to the next generation the way we have got in a damaged form. We don't want to hand over. We have to do something better than what it was handed over to us, so that we are able to give them a better future. That's it from my end. These are few awards that we have been winning. So this is something that you have to take a stock as where we are and continue to in your journey. So these are few things that we continuously keep following up. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I am open to questions, but I can tell you that is more coming from the heart, because I am a practitioner more than theory. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shankar Raman, for an insightful session about sustainability. I hope everyone enjoyed this session, especially the students who have come here and who will be studying about this in due course of their 2 years in this particular institution. Thank you so much, sir.
A very good afternoon to one and all, and I welcome you all to the valedictory session. May I please request Vasumati ma'am and Patil sir to please welcome and assist the dignitaries onto the dais, please. Just arrange the chairs accordingly so that May I request the delegates and the other dignitaries to please join us on the dais. Before we move on to the valedictory session, I think I need to take this opportunity to thank Shankan Raman sir. I think he put in a lot of effort to get across the message of sustainability in the most practical and in the best way across to you all. Thank you so much, sir. Sir's leaving. You can request Meena ma'am to join us on the dais. No? She's not on anything anyway. The chair is empty. I request Dr. Purushottam Patil, Director, SVIMS, to kindly welcome. Just welcome. Just welcome.
Welcome address is not there, no?
So welcome address.
That is welcome address.
Just the
Felicitation.
that is later, sir. After this it follows.
Good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible to you? Okay, yeah. So, again wishing each of you a very good afternoon.
You can't hear voices on the other side.
As we start this valedictory session, the chief guest we have for the session, Principal Koel Chaudhary Madam, Mr. Hiten Kapadia sir, respected Professor Godbole, esteemed Honorary Secretary, National Kannada Education Society, Shri Shashikant Joshi sir, Joshi Madam, in charge Principal of NKS Degree College, Dr. Veena Prasad Madam, Dean Academics, Dr. Vasumati Madam, all research scholars who have enthusiastically taken part into this particular event, the most sought after the event that we were looking out for, the international conference, PRATISANDHI, sponsored by Indian Council for Social Science Research in collaboration with University of Mumbai. It's really a privilege, it's really indeed an honor for me to stand here in front of all of you and address this august gathering with these esteemed experts for the day. I welcome you all for this valedictory session for our international conference PRATISANDHI. These 2 days, indeed each of us are going to remember for a long amount of time. One important point which I am just missing is that today is a very auspicious day for each of us. Again, we have Gudi Padwa and we have Ugadi, the New Year. So my sincere wishes for each of you here who is present, a very happy New Year to you. May all your wishes be accomplished. This day when we are here at this point of time, last 2 days as we have seen, one of the best presentations, as I have observed certain presentations during the tracks that we were there. The tracks the marketing and general management tracks, we had the IT track, we had the finance track, and it was a great experience. It was a learning experience for all of us. In fact, I was just thinking that we have various gatherings for various purposes, including the pilgrimage and including the holy gatherings that are there. So that thought came to my mind that this gathering, all of us, we have come together as research scholars, as publishers, as authors. It's really a great dais for us to exchange ideas, network, share our thoughts, and come out with some meaningful thought during this particular auspicious time. I believe each of us has made that particular attempt and made that particular sincere effort to see that we gain from that particular experience of 2 days' time. I sincerely thank, in fact, it's an admiration, it's a great sense of appreciation, of course, acknowledging the sponsorship of Indian Council for Social Science Research, at the same time, the fantastic work done by our organizing team. The organizing committee, led by respected convener Dr. Vasumati Madam, the entire organizing team that we have seen both from the B School and from our degree college, and the great participation, the encouraging participation from all the research scholars, that has given us such a sense of accomplishment which we will be remembering for a good amount of time. And that would be the stepping stone for our next year's conference that we are looking out for, to be much bigger and much more audience and much more participants to be presenting during that particular conference. So I believe certain takeaways during this conference should be there with us. Myself as a researcher, when I am standing here during this 2 days time, certain challenges we as researchers are usually facing. First is, when I am writing a research paper, is it of that quality which can be published, which can be accepted, which can be preferred by the experts, by the examiners on the other side, who are going to accept it for publication into the journals? So that's my first question. Several times it has happened that the papers come back with several remarks on them that this paper has not been accepted because of these particular reasons. So these are the areas where I need to improve myself, and I have to see that I have to give a much better contribution, much better paper the next time. The second challenge as a researcher which I face, most of us are facing, that we are already working with some organizations. So how do I take out time from my busy schedule? What is the time that I can spare, that I should think about research and writing and publication at the same time? So various challenges are there, and at the same time I'm sure we as scholars, we as experts, growing experts I should say, we should be taking care of these particular challenges, taking these takeaways, the learnings that we are going to have from this particular session, and ensuring that we have our publications much better the next time. There is always a better occasion, there is always a better effort. So let's sincerely put our efforts, and let's see that our attempt, whatever we have made, we make a better attempt next time by taking the learnings during the presentations that we have had during the 2 days time, and the publications also, the reviews that we get from the reviewers at the same time. Not taking much time of yours, I pass on this dais to the hosts for the day. I wish you all my sincere luck and sincere good wishes to each one of you, so that you prosper and you succeed in your careers as publishers, as research scholars. And I would take this opportunity to welcome you all again. Please stay associated with this organization. We certainly need each one of you in this at this particular point of time. We are listening to this particular occasion to see that we as researchers, we grow much better, much bigger the next time. Thank you so much, and wishing you Happy New Year once again, each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Purushottam Patil. We now move on, and it gives me immense pleasure to welcome among us Shri Pradeep Godbole. Mr. Pradeep Godbole is a chartered accountant with more than 30 years of experience in the banking and financial services, business and technology consulting, auditing, accounting and management experience. He holds senior management positions at various reputed organizations like Ernst & Young, IT organizations like Oracle Financial Service Software and Wipro, and banks like Deutsche Bank. He is an independent director with the South Indian Bank, chairman of IT Strategy Committee and member of board committees. He is also the director of Risk and Compliance Professionals Association. He is a consultant and advisor to many financial institutions and technology companies in India. Pradeep sir is also a guest faculty at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and is a speaker at professional events and seminars. We welcome you to day 2 of PRATISANDHI, sir. May I request Shri Shashikant Joshi, Secretary, National Kannada Education Society, to please extend a floral welcome and memento to Mr. Pradeep Godbole. I now invite Mr. Pradeep Godbole to deliver the valedictory address.
Good evening, distinguished guests on the dais, faculty members, and all of you gathered here for this PRATISANDHI conference. First of all, congratulations to the organizers, NKES group of institutions, SVIMS, Indian Council of Social Science Research, and Mumbai University for organizing this international conference. And I also thank the organizers for inviting me for this session, and I'm really privileged to be associated with this conference. Before I get into actual topic, I will not take long because Shankar sir has covered extensively what I was going to say, so I will just briefly touch upon some of the aspects. But before I do that, first of all, let me wish you on the new year and all the best to all of you for the coming year. May this year be better than what was there last year, where we had COVID and all kinds of challenges. Let's hope this year is much better, where we can have gathering like this in person rather than having virtual gatherings. So as Shankar sir has extensively covered, I will just cover it in 3 lines. What we are talking about today is sustainability, which is nothing but ability to maintain something, right? And that can be looked at from 3 angles, and this is what Shankar sir actually elaborated very well across those 17 principles, what he talked about: physical and natural resources, environmental degradation, and then social resources. As far as sustainable development, what we are talking about, it's been talked about for almost 35 years. The first document what Shankar sir talked about was actually 1987 document, which was there. And what it is trying to say is that we should meet our current needs, but at the same time leave something for the future generations for them to survive. We don't utilize all the resources, all the things which are available at our disposal during our lifetime, but leave it something for the next generation, or do something which will make their life better than what we have got from our forefathers. So that's a thought process with which this whole movement actually started. The second part of the conference is about transformation, right? And this transformation will be enabled through a technology, and technology is a great enabler. I will try to cover up some of the examples based on my experience in the field, what I have observed, what has been done, and how technology has been able to meet these objectives. And I would also like to leave the thought with you as to what, as a research scholars, which you can do going forward, where are the opportunities for you, what all things you can do to make things better than what they are today. I did not attend all the sessions, but I understand that you had very interesting sessions over last 2 days. I could attend the last session, and I have very high regard for the way Shankar sir actually presented this session. One thing which I liked about this conference is that this organization or conference is trying to get the academics and the practitioners on the same table. This has been the problem with India. If you look abroad, the practitioners and the academics, they work hand in hand. So you will find lot of vaccinations are developed by pharmaceutical companies in association with the academics which is there, or some technology innovations which have happened, which you see now as a finished product, have actually found their birthplace is actually in some laboratory, in some academic institution. So that kind of a exchange of ideas, or the knowledge sharing, or having a common goal, unfortunately has not been working very well in India. And so I am very happy that we are trying to get both these parties on the same table, and we are trying to address this particular problem. As far as the theme itself goes, we have lots of examples of sustainability and transformations, using technology for transformations which are there. And we Indians are very innovative people. The world calls us Jugadu. So you must have seen in COVID times, we did not have the hospitals. So what did we do? We converted the railway wagons into the hospital. Nothing stops us from doing anything. Indians are the best as far as that Jugadu attitude is concerned. I will give you a couple of examples, in fact, which are related to this topic, what Shankar sir talked about, reuse, recycle, all that kind of stuff. And this is coming from the speech which I heard from Nitin Gadkari, who is the Union Minister. And you possibly would have seen this YouTube video, but I would still take the liberty of talking about it again. So what they did was, in Nagpur city, they decided to recycle the sewage waste. Whatever is the sewerage water is there, they tried to recycle it, and what they did was, using that recycled sewerage water that was used for watering the plants or cleaning the Nagpur Transport Company buses, and slowly they realized that they could save few crores by doing such a simple activity which is there. Even more Jugadu example which he told, and which was shocker to me actually. All of us have haircut, at least some of them, the people out here who have got haircut, they definitely have it. And you possibly, if you are a science student, you will know that those hairs have got amino acids, right? So he requested some of the educational institutions, academia, to actually look at how this can be used. And what they were able to do was that they were able to bifurcate the amino acids from the hairs what we have. So all the hair cutting saloons and the salons what we have got, they used to collect the hairs, and slowly they started manufacturing it. That amino acid, once converted from the hair, you can sell it at 30 rupees. Right? And they soon started getting demand. And then what do? Where do they get so much of hair? Then they started approaching various pilgrimage places where people normally devote to the god their hair. Like, so they started actually transporting such hair stock from those pilgrimage places and bringing it into their factory, converting it. And the beauty of this whole thing was that they were able to export this amino acid to UAE, and this is there, this video is there on YouTube, you can go and check. This is not a fiction which I am making for somebody else. This video is there. They were able to export this to UAE, and this particular amino acid is actually used in multiple industries like pharma, for example. They use this particular acid which is extensively used. So from the waste they were able to get the best. So best out of waste, what is one of the themes in this sustainable development, what we are talking about. We also talked, I said that technology is a great enabler, and we as Indians, whichever government is in power, leave aside that. But as an Indian, we should all be proud of what we have achieved through the technology, the development what we have done. And all of you must have heard from Prime Minister already what is called a JAM. Right? So what we have got is Aadhaar, where everybody is registered. 120 crore people are already registered with Aadhaar. The government forced all the banks to open Jan Dhan accounts, and these Jan Dhan accounts were linked with the Aadhaar, right? And mobile has, fortunately for India, has spread widely across India. Even the smallest person on the street now today has got a mobile. He may be having Nokia 3120, which some of us would be using 10-15 years back, but at least he has a mobile. He has the connectivity. He can get an SMS, he can make a call. He has got all these facilities. Many of the people, even the people whom you think they are not very rich, they are also having smartphones nowadays. Basic low-end smartphones are also now getting manufactured in India. So we have also that kind of a thing. So combined with Jan Dhan account, the Aadhaar and the mobility, we are able to do lots of things together. Lots of processes can be automated. Government services can be automated. You have reduced all the paperwork, all the effort which is there in submitting the documents, the effort and time which is involved in checking all those things, they can all be automated at one go. So that's a beautiful thing which India has done. And in fact, I travel abroad and I talk to people from other countries, especially developing countries like Africa or in Eastern Asia, and they look India with admiration because of this particular example. Now, how does it help in our sustainable goals? Is because first of all, if you would have seen, there are, apart from greenhouse and climate change, there are other things which are there. So direct benefit transfer is possible. Everybody is getting that equality principle is getting applied. Everybody has got access to the finances now. So all those things were enabled because of this particular initiative. You must be reading about all the other technology related changes which are happening, like the electric vehicles, the green fuels which is there. So the trend is not just in financial services or in government services, it is all across the board actually. And we talked about best out of waste, right? And one example of that, you would see, there are videos available on YouTube again on this, you can check out on that. Plastic waste, what we generate, which is not biodegradable. So whatever plastic junk what we generate is not biodegradable. That same thing can be used to as a material for building the roads. And in fact, there is a government regulation now that the roads which are connecting particular localities or particular size of population, they should be used using this particular plastic waste which is there. So that is again what we are doing. The building materials, we are already trying to change that thing. So natural material we are trying to use which will reduce the temperatures or keep the cooling effect. Already such examples are being done. Or we are using the materials, waste materials which are there, which can get a building material which is of strength. So that kind of a thing also we can do. Alternative energy sources, again Shankar sir talked about it coming up in a big way. We are also spending time, you must be already getting this terminology, organic farming and organic vegetables and all that. So the wet waste which we have got, that can actually turn into a very, very productive fertilizer which is there. And from my personal experience, I tried this in my garden and the results are beautiful, in fact. So such a simple thing at even personal level, if we do, that can add lot of things from the society perspective. One other thing which I would like and where the opportunities are, the technology wise, there are lots of things are happening, and you must have heard about robotics and artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? So this is no longer a jargon, this is already in practice. So you can use these type of techniques now to have better healthcare facilities. So robotic surgery is very much in there. Artificial intelligence and machine learning you are already using, all of you are using Hello Google every time, and now that is also getting available in the local regional languages which is there. So everybody, that is becoming that inclusiveness which is there as part of the sustainable organization, that is also coming into place with using this particular technology which is there. Now where do the opportunities lie for the researchers as well as the people who are entrepreneurs in this field? And one point which I would like to put on the table is that in outside world there are funds which are actually spending or investing in the enterprises which are having a sustainable organization criteria. They are reducing carbon emissions, or they are meeting one of those 17 characteristics what you saw in your earlier presentation. So this particular funds outside the world, they were 550 crores, 550 billion in 2019. Now they are at 1250 billion in 2020. But if you look at India, the percentage is hardly anything, 0.8% of this, and that is hardly any percentage which is there. But the things are changing in India also. You will see a lot of social entrepreneurs who are coming, who are ready to invest in such social entrepreneurship initiatives which are there. So apart from the academics what we have got, there is an opportunity for us to take the next step and make it available to the rest of the world, rest of the India. That is what an opportunity which is what is there on the table in my view. There are 8 ESG themed funds which are already available in India, and I'm sure there will be many more which will be coming in this particular thing. So as you do the research, my request to you is that please ensure that research which you are doing is actually can be used in real life. It is not research for the sake of research. If this research can be converted into practical insights, there are opportunities available for you to actually convert it into a viable economic enterprise, either a commercial enterprise or you can go for a social enterprise, and there is a funding which is available. The government is also having various schemes which are there, which can be used actually if you have got an idea, there are government schemes through which you can run, and you can actually make sure that that particular idea is actually fructified into action. So that is what is already a possibility which is there for the people who are doing the research, the practitioners who are there, and that would be my sincere request that as you conclude this 2 days of seminar, 2 days of conference, you would have learned a lot of things, you would have got ideas, you would be already having ideas, you might be doing research on some of the topics which are there. So please take that to the next level. Let that not remain just on paper. Let that be converted into reality so that the world benefits. So all the best to you in your plans which you have got. And once again, thank you very much for inviting me for this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pradeep sir. it gives me immense pleasure to introduce Shri Hiten Kapadia. Mr. Hiten is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He has over 21 years of professional experience in the real estate sector, and in the last 10 years, he has worked with real estate funds and NFCs focused on real estate investments, namely SRS, ICICI Prudential, and Capri Global Capital Limited. Hiten sir has mentored several students, industry aspirants, and startups at various seminars and institutes. He has also been a speaker at various real estate forums. May I now request Dr. Purushottam Patil to extend a floral welcome and felicitate sir with a memento. I now request Mr. Hiten Kapadia to please address the gathering.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible till the end? Generally, I don't need a mic, but I thank you, everyone, to invite me over here. And special thanks to Vasumati ma'am for coordinating for last 2 months and inviting me. Respected dignitaries, dear students and colleagues. Dear students and colleagues, it's good to be back in the college, and that too after 2 years of COVID. I have always been, a professor or had the aspirations to teach students and have been to various faculties for that. And I always start my lecture with this when I see students that give me another chance. I want to grow up once again. So when I see these students and colleges, I always feel that, I was in the wrong generation and this is the right generation, which is the youth which is coming up. My colleagues Csr and Pradeep ji have already covered on the aspects as to what the next generation has to do, but I would like from a real estate perspective to just say 2 lines and keep it real short and sweet. That as our parents or as you aspire to give something to your kids, and which is the real estate, ki makan baan ke diya hai, which I have transferred it to my kids, the same way we as youth or we as the middle generation has to ensure that we give the right environment and the right climatic conditions to our next generation. And that sums up what Shankar sir and Pradeep ji has, kind of told in their speech or mentioned in their speech. And I would just wish you everyone and all the best and ensure that you do well in your career. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hiten sir. Definitely those words will keep ringing in my mind for a long time. Though your speech was short, but I think it's right on target. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Dr. Koil Roy Chaudhary, Principal, SIS College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Nerul, Navi Mumbai. Madam is a subject expert for panel interviews and for syllabus revision. She has 17 journal publications, more than 20 paper presentations in both national and international conferences, and 4 books published to her credit. May I request Dr. Vasumati ma'am to please extend a floral welcome and the memento, hand over the memento to ma'am. I now request Dr. Koel Roy Chaudhary to please deliver the felicitation address.
Respected Dr. Purushottam Patil sir, all the members of the organizing team and my dear students who are sitting over here. I represent complete academics and therefore I look at sustainability and technology from the perspective of the students. As an educational institute, for me the biggest challenge is how do I prepare my students to go into a world which is changing so quickly and where the skills that I am going to give to them when they are in my institute may become irrelevant by the time they pass out. So therefore, the destination, or I can say the destiny of my institution is linked to my students' destiny. And therefore, as an institute, it is our endeavor that we introduce courses, we introduce curriculum, we introduce activities so that we are trying our students to become ready to face a very different world to what they are used to. I would say that if March 2020, when the lockdown was announced, was a huge earthquake for the education in India, because we moved from completely offline to completely online, I think the move back to hybrid and completely offline will never take place. We have to understand that technology is there in every field and it is going to be a very big part of how we deliver education and how we create skills for our students. Thank you very much for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to come over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those words of wisdom, Koel ma'am. I now request Dr. Priyanka Dukhande to take over for the prize and certificate distribution.
Good evening, everyone. Now we'll start with our most awaited ceremony of the day, that is the prize distribution ceremony. In the last 2 days, we had almost got around 140 papers, and the total paper presented in each track were around 25. All of the participants, faculties as well as students, have shown their overwhelming experiences. But with the prize distribution, for all the 5 tracks, there are first 2 prizes for each of the track. Moving with track 1, that is economics and finance, the first prize goes to Mr. Chandan Shri Guru, but unfortunately sir is not here because he is online presenting. So I would request Mr. Pradeep Godbole sir to come on to dais and do the honors. So we'll start with the prize distribution ceremony. So track 1, economics and finance, the second prize winner is Miss Pooja Jogu ma'am. She is from Vidyalankar College, Research Scholar, University of Mumbai. And ma'am's guide name is Dr. Neelam Arora. I want a huge round of applause. Moving with the second track, marketing and general management. The first prize winner goes to Dr. Sarika Sagar from Satish Pradhan Dhan Sadhana College, Thane. everyone. Ma'am's co-author was Dr. Shraddha Bhume, Vice Principal of Dhyan Sadhana College. In the same track, the second prize goes to Professor Charmi Shah, Research Scholar, University of Mumbai. Ma'am's co-author was her guide, PhD guide, Dr. Rinkesh Chheda. Rinkesh sir, you can also join ma'am on dais.
Because your scholar wants you to join.
Now I request Mr. Hiten Kapadia sir to kindly give away the awardees. Track 3, IT and Business Analytics. The first prize goes to Ms. Pallavi Bhaskar Bodare from SIS College of Management Studies. Ma'am's guide name is Dr. Dilip Mestri, so it was author and co-author paper together. In the same track, the second prize had gone to Dr. Smita Khawani. She is from Sir KP College of Commerce, Gujarat. But ma'am had given an online presentation. Unfortunately, she was not able to make it into the conference offline. Moving to track 4, CSR and Sustainability. The first prize winner goes to Dr. Savio Sangeet along with Sir's guide, Dr. Jyotilata ma'am. Sir is from Bharatiya University, Tamil Nadu. The second prize for the track went to Dr. Jaya Sharma ma'am from Government Girls College, Sihor, Madhya Pradesh. Unfortunately, ma'am had not made for the conference. Again, the presentation was online. These were the best paper awards. Moving down for the faculty presentations who had presented successfully. So I would call upon Mr. Premendra Khashit sir, Director, Bitcoin Academy. Sir is a research scholar and Sir's paper were co-authored with our director sir, Dr. Purushottam Patil sir. Patil sir, you also join. Yes, the claps must go on. Thank you, Hiten sir. I would request Dr. Koyroy Chaudhary ma'am to come and give away the further awards. I would request Professor Sita Lakshmi Ramakrishnan ma'am. She is from SP Dayanand College, Thane, who had presented in track 2. Yes, guys, kindly give it a huge round of applause to all. Next, Mr. Shakti Bharti sir, who is from Bharatiya University, Tamil Nadu. I request sir to kindly take the award. I would request Professor Atul Anand Jha sir, who has travelled all the way from Haryana to make it over to the conference. Kindly sir, come and take your certificate. Atul Anand sir. Sorry, it's Atul Jha sir. Atul Anand. It's Professor Atul Anand Jha. I would request Mr. Sandeep Dharmapur sir to kindly take the participation certificate. Sir had made 2 days participation in the conference. Now moving with the track 5, that was the students track, I would request Miss Bernadette Claire, who had won the first prize amongst the student track. She is from Rishi Hood University, Haryana. She is studying there and she is from Uganda. The second prize for the track goes to Mr. Kunal Goyal, again from Rishi Hood University. Thank you, Koel ma'am. Now I request our management committee member Shashikant Joshi sir to kindly give award. I would request from swims, the first prize has gone to Miss Tapaswini Reddy, PGDM. They had made up for the students' track. Sorry, Tapaswini Reddy is the runner-up for the day. She has won the second prize. She is from the student of Swims Business School. And the first prize for the track goes to Miss Kinjal Gosrani, a student from Swims Business School. Other students who had participated, I would request Mr. Pasang Serin to come and take away the certificate. He has submitted 2 papers for the conference, in which one of the full paper has been received. He is from Rishi Hood University, Haryana. I would request Mr. Ashu Ghag to come and take away his certificate. Again, he has submitted 2 papers. They have made all the way from Haryana to this conference here. I would request Sumit Sharma to come and take away his certificate. Again, he is from Rishihood University. The faculty guide is Dr. M. Chitra. Last student is Mr. Sunny from Rishihood University. Thank you, Joshi sir. Now I request In charge Principal Dr. Veena Prasad ma'am to kindly give away the certificates for further awardees. I would request Mr. Rohit Patil, second year MMS students of Csr and Sustainability Institute, who had presented his paper in the student track. Yes, guys, kindly cheer up. Now I would request Ms. Shraddha Kolge from first year MMS, who had presented a paper. Shraddha. Thank you, Veena ma'am. Thank you, Vasumati ma'am. I would request our director, Sir Patil sir, to give away the further award. The further presentees, Ms. Anjali Gosain from MMS second year HR, from Csr and Sustainability Institute of Management Studies. Next, I would like to call upon stage Ms. Arya Burde, second year specialization HR, Csr and Sustainability Institute of Management Studies and Research. The last awardee for presentation today is Ms. Jyoti Kadlak, second year MMS student, specialization HR, Csr and Sustainability Institute of Management Studies and Research. Thank you so much, Patil sir. Further will be continued by Neville.
Thank you, ma'am. Before beginning with my part, let me highlight a quote given by Paul J. Mayer, that is, productivity is never an accident. It is always the result of a commitment to excellence, intelligent planning, and focused effort. With this, may I now call upon Professor Ganpati Katige sir to please come on the stage and present the rapporteur's report.
Good evening to all. Happy Yugadi and Gudi Padwa to all of you. Now this is the summary of the whole conference. Okay. So it is my pleasure to present the report of this multidisciplinary international conference PRATISANDHI on a sustainable organization in technology-driven era. This was the topic. As you all know, this 2 days mega event is jointly organized by National Kannada Education Society's group of institutions. These are Csr and Sustainability Institute of Management Studies and Research, SWIMS Business School, and NKS College of Arts, Science and Commerce. And it was sponsored by, first time we have got this sponsorship. We should thank the convener, Dr. Vasuvanti ma'am, for this, all the efforts she has put behind getting this sponsorship. So sponsored by ICSSR, Indian Council of Social Sciences and Research, and this was held in association with University of Mumbai. Okay, this was actually I should say the second international conference which was conducted in SWIMS. First was way back in 2013, but this was hugely volume wise also, the participation wise also very huge. It was very huge conference, I can say. The inaugural session started with the lighting of lamp by dignitaries and with Saraswati Vandana by students of SWIMS. During his welcome address, Dr. Purushottam Patil, Director, SWIMS, emphasized that doing research, writing and publishing papers is vital for academic fraternity. And then Mr. Banwasi, Anant Banwasi sir, Trustee NKES, in his management address, congratulated the conference organizing team for making this happen. He quoted from President of USA Roosevelt, functions of education is of prime importance. Education should impart to the current generation the good culture, behavior to make them a good human being. Also, he narrated the journey of the parent organization National Kannada Education Society and its commitment to quality education. Convener of PRATISANDHI, the architect of this conference, Dr. Vasumati Hariharan, wonderfully explained how the concept of this conference, PRATISANDHI, a sustainable organization in technology-driven era, ideas, achievement and resolve was evolved. She emphasized the importance the industry experts participations in deliberations of the conference. Then in his inaugural speech, Dr. Satish Jha, Regional Dean, Lincoln University, Nepal, emphasized the importance of sustainability in environment and also in organization. Importance of reduce, reuse and recycle. then in organizations, sustainability is achieved by knowledge, customer focus and use of technology. Then Dr. Smita Shukla, Director ICSSR, Western Region, in her special address explained different schemes of ICSSR wherein grants are provided to projects undertaken by faculties of academic institutions. On the topic of sustainability of organizations, she made a point that the organization should adopt customer-centric approach in marketing to be sustainable. For the conference, we had total of 140 registrations. Big applause, please. And a book of abstracts or compendium with 110 abstracts were released during the inauguration session. Then afterwards, felicitation address was given by Dr. Kuldeep Kumar, Professor, Bond University, Australia, who gave the online address. He spoke about the supply chain disruptions during COVID-19 pandemic. He analyzed the impact of semiconductor chip supply shortages on automobile industry. Then next speaker, Dr. Sandeep Podar, he also gave online lecture. He is Professor, Lincoln University, Malaysia, addressed the conference online from Malaysia. He was explaining how technology has changed Graham Bell, the inventor of telephone era, to the present internet era, and he shared ideas of sustainability using technology. The inauguration session ended with the vote of thanks by Dr. Veena Prasad, ma'am, in charge principal, NKS College of Arts, Science and Commerce. Then we had a session of Mr. Parameshwaran Iyer, Partners Consulting, ET&P, SAP, Deloitte, Toish, Tomatsu, India LLP, that is the company name, was introduced to the gathering by Professor Mani. Mr. Iyer gave excellent inputs on how technology enables business transformation in organization with many case studies, and also showed videos on how the futuristic technology is being adopted in Deloitte presently. After lunch on day one, there was 4 different tracks for paper presentation. In the first track, there was 22 papers of economics and finance. Dr. Lakshmi Kavita ma'am was the chief academic officer. Lakshmi Kavita, chief academic officer, VSIT, Mumbai, was the chairperson. And Professor Gangadhar Mani was co-chairperson. In the second track, there were 24 papers on marketing and general management. Dr. Shraddha Bhome, ma'am, associate professor and academic head, Jnan Sadhana College, Thane, was chairperson, and Professor Deepan Bhatt, SWIMS, was co-chairperson. In track 3, there were 12 papers on information technology and business analytics. Chairperson Dr. Rakesh Walke, Professor, Dean Operations, Father Agnel Institute of Management Studies, Mumbai, and co-chair Professor Vilas Chaudhary, Dean, SWIMS Business School. In track 4, there were 24 papers on corporate social responsibility and sustainability. Chairperson was Dr. Kapil Tandon, Professor, Whistling Woods College, Mumbai. Dr. Shakti Avasthi, Associate Professor, HR, SWIMS Business School, was the co-chair. On day 2, there was student track in the morning. There were 16 presentations. Chairperson was Professor Abhinav Sharma, and co-chair was Dr. Rakesh Chadha, SIAS College, Sion. And for all these tracks, as you know, we have given 2 prizes for paper presentation, top 2 best paper presents. Then in the invited lecture session by Dr. Asha Ruth, Financial Controller, ITC Group Hotel, the topic was achieve the best and adapt to change. Lot of interesting activities were done with the students to bring out a point that to be successful, communication, strategy, persistency and ethical behavior is important. After lunch on the second day, Mr. Shankar Raman, just this afternoon session, Senior Vice President, RECAM RPG gave a talk on resolve to evolve, balancing ESG sustainability in organization. He highlighted how serious the climate change and ozone depletion and gave the message that we need to act now before it is too late, and mentioned 17 goals under ESG, environment, social and governance. Valedictory function of the 2 days conference, the PRATISANDHI was started with the welcome address by Dr. Purushottam Patil sir. In his valedictory address, Mr. Pradeep Godbole sir, Independent Director, South Indian Bank, Directors, Risk and Compliance, touched some interesting points on technology as an enabler for transformation in the organizations. Mr. Hitin Kapadia, Partner Deals, Corporate Finance, Real Estate Dealer, gave a short and sweet special address. Dr. Koel Roy Chaudhary, Principal SIES, gave a felicitation address. Prize and certification distribution was conducted by Dr. Priyanka Dukhande ma'am. I congratulate at the end the entire conference coordination team headed by Dr. Vasumati ma'am, ably supported by Dr. Priyanka ma'am and Dr. Rahul Shah sir. So thank you entire SWIMS Business School team and NKES College team. Thank you one and all. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Once again, let's give a round of applause to sir. Before we go to the next part, it's time to hear from our audience, that is the students, research scholars, participants who would like to express their thoughts and experience and learnings about this 2-day multidisciplinary international conference.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello, good evening everyone. Good evening respected Director Sir, Dean Madam, guests, faculty and my dear friends. I am Guru Narayan Pandey, MMS first year. It has been a great honor to be a part of international conference. In the last 2 days of this conference, I have gone through different experience. I have learned few concepts related to sustainability. I learned ideas based on why it is important to resolve, where we will get evolved. We also learned experiences with concepts such as sustainability with environment. Overall, the experience gave learning about many activities throughout the globe. It taught us to be ready for the change. Also gave a brief idea about how to bounce back in resilient times. With this, I would like to end my thoughts over here. And the last thing that I would like to tell is that if we... Thank you.
Hello. Good evening everyone. I am Shivani Singh from MMS. Good evening everyone. I am Shivani Singh from MMS first year. In 2 days of conference of PRATISANDHI, we all have opportunity to gain knowledge about different topic through the presentation given by our teachers, professor and student. It was great learning experience for us. Thank you for giving us opportunity for being part of this conference.
Let's give them a round of applause.
Good evening. I am Dharma Bora, MMS, Sir and Visvesvaraya Institute of Management, Bombay. Today, PRATISANDHI, I very likely this for me, and also today participate in the program, something the new learn and what is the sustainable, and so many sir experience and so many knowledgeable for me, and now my volunteers and also doing the some participants so nicely and great for swims college and also our faculty. I like to all of my team member. Thank you. Great for opportunity our college, and next opportunity we take for our team and our swims college. Thank you, sir. Thank you all of you.
Anyone from the Rishiwood University can share their experience and thoughts with regards to this international conference.
Good evening. My name is Bernadette Claire Namanja, and I am from Rishiwood University. Together with my teammates, would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for granting us this opportunity to be part of this conference. I must say that we've learned a lot from it, and one of the texts that we've taken, that it's not just about environmental sustainability, but even other disciplines can actually help us in sustainable development. And then the next thing, this is not about the vote of thanks, it's about Rishiwood University. It is located in Sonipat, Haryana. Just in case you would like to visit Rishiwood, please you can contact us. We've come along with some brochures. We would be distributing them around so that you can get an insight of it. Maybe in the future you would wish to join Rishiwood University. We have 5 schools: School of Creativity, School of Entrepreneurship, where we all belong, and then we have School of Healthcare, School of Education, and Rashtram, School of Public Leadership. Thank you so much, and may God bless you wherever you go.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We would love to hear from some of our faculties outside of other colleges. Please, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sita Lakshmi, and I presented a paper in track 4. I think it was a wonderful experience to present, though I presented online for some personal reasons. It was a wonderful experience, and like I said, like everybody else in fact said, it was a learning experience to know that how, organizations or, different kinds of organizations are actually doing a lot of things towards sustainability, and that was a wonderful value add-on. Thanks a lot for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would like to call Savio sir to please share your experience and thoughts with regards to our international conference.
Good evening. Good evening, one and all present here. Good evening to the dignitaries and to the research scholars, students, staff, and everyone. So, I'm a research scholar currently affiliated with Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore. So I came all the way from Coimbatore to present my paper in this conference. So attending this conference gave me new insights into moving further my research, and
how I can build my future prospects of towards research was, that gave me an idea. And presenting in front of a big group or community was very nice. And thank you one and all for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to hear from Janila Stephen. She wants to share some of her feedback.
Hi everyone, my name is Janira Stephen. I have studied here. So these are my friends. They have all come here. We were invited. So I got to know what international conference is all about, and I'm really happy that you guys participated in it. All the teachers also have participated. So it's such a proud moment for me and all the students here that we could contribute so much. We could come together as a team to know what other people's thoughts are, how other people have contributed in their research papers, in their abstracts. We could actually share our thoughts. We can know that how other people also think, and that will help us grow in our perspectives also. So yeah, it was very nice meeting you all, coming here, and the way this entire event was conducted is really amazing. It was so smooth, so awesome, like everything is well managed, and really everything was well done, and it was a very nice show. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janila, for your kind words. Once again, let's give a round of applause for all of them. As we are almost at the end of this event.
Thank you, everyone.
Please, ma'am.
Thanks for the inviting us. It is a good hospitality, and there is a lot of cooperation from the student side. So, and thanks for the students' activity as well. And thanks for the committee, those who arrange all these wonderful conference and invite us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, as we are almost at the end of this event, may I now call upon Dr. Vasumati Hariharan ma'am, Professor and Dean of Academic SWIMS, to please come forward and propose the formal vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Good evening, everyone. I know I'm standing between you and Sunday. I don't want to take much time. So, but I take this opportunity to thank each one of you for staying with us till the valedictory function. That is very important. So, first and foremost, that is you all, my gratitude. I owe you, right? This is an immensely exciting event for our institute. The actively growing participation of students from various colleges every year, though we did not have it for the past 2 years, in all our events affirms the relevance and meaningfulness of such celebrations. This fest was a synergy of the youth, creativity, and of course talent quotient. It was a hustle-bustle affair and a gamut of activities rolled to test the talent and mental ability, logical thinking and creativity of faculty and students all at one go. All in all, it was a fun-filled event, gelled with thinking, of course, little bit of cerebral grilling and a creative palette. I hope you enjoyed the 2 days that you spent with us. Let me first acknowledge the presence of some of our eminent guests. It is indeed a pleasure to have amongst us the chief guest of the valedictory function, Mr. Pradeep Godbole sir, Director South Indian Bank, Mr. Hiten Kapadia, Partner Maras. In fact, it was Hiten who confirmed presence first. So I wish you all give him a big hand to Hiten, because I never knew you had a Midas touch. So he had a Midas touch. So he started, followed with that, all the guests confirmed. Of course, we miss Dr. Mohan Bhatia, who could not join. We wished he was here, but we have assured him that he will be here for all our future events. So I request Pradeep sir to convey our regards to Mohan Bhatia sir. He is the director of Indian Actuarial Science, who could not make it. And Dr. very own, our Dr. Koel Roy Chowdhury, Principal, SIES College of Art Science, Nerul, who has chiseled, shaped and raised so many students and faculty members The best example is your own Dr. Priyanka Dukhande, who she shaped her career, and we are seeing the results here at SWIMS. Thank you, ma'am, for that. A special thanks to Koel ma'am, right? Yeah, so we snatched her from there. And sorry for that, right? I should not miss this opportunity. A special mention of thanks for honoring the participants by distributing the prizes. Dr. Satish Oja, Regional Dean, Lincoln University, Nepal, who was the chief guest of the inaugural function. Dr. Smita Shukla, Director, ICSSR. Dr. Kuldeep Kumar, Bond University, Gold Coast, Australia. Dr. Sandeep Podhar, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Lincoln University, Malaysia, were the guests for the inaugural session. I thank each one of them for participating in the event, online, offline, and through all modes. Their presence was formidable. I thank them from bottom of my heart for gracing the occasion. Their presence was indeed a source of motivation. I felt honored to share some quick thoughts with you about the conference. Hence, I shall fail in my duty if I do not thank Dr. Patil, Director SWIMS, and Dr. Veena Prasad, Principal of Degree College, for giving me this golden opportunity to present my thoughts during the inaugural session, and they kept me motivated to look ahead and not to stop by just summarizing the event. So sir has asked me to look ahead for more such events. I shall do that. I shall try my level best, sir. This bold initiative to hold an international conference of this magnitude during this year, especially COVID recovery year, I could call it COVID recovery year, that would not have been possible without the encouragement and motivation of our trust members, a very young trust member team we have. I thank this opportunity to thank our beloved President, NKES, Mr. Pratisandhi sir, Mr. Anant Banwasi sir, Joshi sir, who is present here as to grace the occasion, Mrs. Veena Joshi ma'am, she is seated in the front, the left hand side, and our very own Padmaja ma'am and Bhavani ma'am, and all the trustees who were supporting us. Your formidable presence in all our events has been with a very foundation on which every step of ours is built. I thank you all, sir, on behalf of everyone present here. Let me request the audience to give a big round of applause to all our beloved trustees. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have been able to learn from people, from practices, from experiences, from ideas, from deliberations, and from all possible means only because of our invited guests and participants. This includes both faculty, invited participants from the industry and the students. Let me thank the three marvelous guest speakers, Mr. Parameshwaran Iyer, Mr. Shankar Raman, and my very own Miss Asha, who took all the pains to come to our campus to address the gathering and left us all spellbound with their viewpoints and thoughts. Let me thank them from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the trust. I would like to express sincere appreciation and gratitude to all the moderators, including Dr. Lakshmi Kavita. She has come here to grace the occasion. The presenters, the discussants, the participants, students, faculty members, for your very active and frank discussions, which I think have made this conference very fruitful. I don't want to forget to thank all my colleague faculty members, Dr. Shah, Dr. Dukhande, Dr. Kavita, Mrs. Ruchika, Dr. Avasti, Professor Mani, Professor Kattige, Professor Deepan, Professor Atul, Professor Narendra, and Dr. Vilas Chaudhary sir, and my staff, and all the faculty members from NKES Degree College, Shilpa, Anish, Regan sir, Soni, Samta, right? I do not know if I have forgotten anybody else. Of course, Chandru, right? I think I have mentioned all their names. These people were there right from the beginning. Shilpa, Anish, and Regan sir were there with me all the time. So every day they used to come to our cabin, discuss, and then deliberate and take this forward. I should not forget to mention. My strength has been my staff team, led by Yatin sir, Prachi ma'am, Pai madam, Sudarshan, my Priya, my very own Priya Krishnamurthy, my Sulochana, my Priyanka Oberoi, my Archana, We do not know whether Priyanka Oberoi is a student, a faculty or a staff because she is everywhere inside swims. She is omnipresent. I don't know how she is able to make it. And for the 2 days wonderful feast we had, it is only because of Priyanka and Atul sir's timely intervention. So we should, when heart is full, words of you, we should thank them. So my own Priyanka, and then I will definitely fail in my duty if I don't thank the team of people who have been maintaining the cleanliness everywhere, led by Mr. Kishore, Mrs. Sangeeta, Mr. Ajinkya, Mr. Prashant and Ms. Uma of Degree College, and also our Jorapur sir, because I start my day with a Vanakkam from Jorapur sir. He has not been able to make it. Let me not forget him because he is the motivational force for me, right. I should not forget to thank all the student participants who have traveled from various places, my friends from Rishigud University who have taken all the pains. Thank you very much, guys. Please do support us in all our future endeavors. And my team of alumni who are here, who is very much known to our Pradeep sir, Sarvesh, Jenny and Simran and yes. So I should not forget to thank them and all those alumni who came for the inaugural session. Thank you guys. Great to see you in the campus. All these 2 years, if we all of us sitting here, if we have missed something, it is only our students. We have been missing them terribly in the campus, right? And 1 year we have been in punishment. Like we used to come to the campus, but without the students. What is the point, right? So we miss their arguments, their fun, their coming and probing us with questions, all those things we were missing. So they actually gave us the best for these 2 days. We were completely with them. There was no lectures, so we were completely with them having fun and what not we had. We had food together. So all the students from Mars, from Sonam, from Jay, everyone, I cannot give the names because the list is very exhaustive, right? So let me thank all the student volunteers and the student participants, right? God bless you all because you have given us the best. You have made us, I think I can run the show for 10 more years because you have given me the josh, right? Thank you very much. And thanks to all the security people who are seated on either side of the building to take care of our security. We had a very great time because they were there guarding the system here, right? Thank you very much. Thank you all. See you next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind and valuable words. Ladies and gentlemen, since no academic celebration is complete without the national anthem of our beloved country, may I now request all of you to rise for the national anthem.
तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मागे, गाहे तव जय गाथा। जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
With this we... Hello. With this we come to an end of 2-day multidisciplinary international conference sponsored by ICSSR commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.